Hill Art Foundation.
Charles, we have a slight variation in topic today. Well, actually, no, it's the same topic. We're going to talk about how stupid Joe Biden is.
Do we have enough time?
Maybe. You know,
Let's wait.
Before we get into it, though, I do want to talk a little bit first about the poster and also about the movie that inspired it. So everybody knows that Joe Biden is going to have a conversation. If he lives a long enough time, he's going to have a conversation on, I guess, Friday with George Stupidopolis.
Right.
But the movie this is based on is Metropolis, which is a Fritz Lang movie, Charles, that was made in 1927.
Wow.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, but it had the, I forget, the robot is like the Mechanamensch or something like that, the mechanical man.
Right.
And we've got Joe Biden depicted as the robot. But the thing that's interesting about this movie, Charles, it was made in 1927, and I think it was the most expensive film ever made.
Wow.
At that time.
Until Waterworld?
Well, we'd have to find out. It maybe probably Gone with the Wind, but it was, or probably maybe Wizard of Oz. But at the time that it was made, the Fritz Lang movie Metropolis was 21 million euros equivalent today.
That's huge.
And it was, the thing that people really should try to wrap their brain around, Charles, is that it was really a visual effects extravaganza. They invented all kinds of techniques to do things that, you know, people had never seen. 1927, cinema was really only like 30 years old, and they did extensive special effects with miniatures, using mirrors and all kinds of complex techniques that, I mean, people really need to understand. Nobody had ever seen anything like this before. It was a technological tour de force, but it dealt with topics that were really kind of on the German mind at that time after World War I, and it was all about this mega futuristic city where all the workers and everything lived underground and took these elevators down to operate the giant machines that made this society run, where all the fancy rich people were enjoying the metropolis. And I think it's worth seeing again. I just discovered this morning in making the graphic that somebody had in 2008 restored the film. When it was originally released, there was backlash in Germany because they said it was too communist with all this pro-worker stuff. So most people have only ever seen a radically cut down version of it. And in 2008, they restored it. Somebody found an original 16 millimeter print, I think in Argentina, and they restored the whole thing, and you can see it on YouTube now.
In Argentina, huh?
Isn't that interesting?
It is. It is.
So Stupidopolis.
Yeah, I mean, even since Sunday, the political landscape has moved dramatically. And I was still in Thailand in the morning. It was Friday morning for me, Thursday evening here of the debate, and working with Katya at Sputnik. I answered a bunch of questions, predicting that Biden and Harris would both be out. And it's really moving now very, very quickly.
To Harris?
Well, I don't think so. I think that's a trial balloon. And that's before people think
Trial buffoon?
She is definitely a trial buffoon. What did you, Hawk Tui?
Hawk Tui girl.
No, but I mean, the notion that you're gonna, first of all, the move to get rid of Biden is such a crippling move because it calls into question the leadership of the Democratic elite. You know, this is not something that should have been unanticipated. We've been talking about this since, for I don't know how long now.
3 years?
A long time.
4 years?
Questioning whether Biden could actually make it across the finish line for a campaign. And so the decisions to so shield Biden, not really have a primary, not really let RFK and people like him stand up there and toughen up Biden, not really have any actual interviews. The interviews that they've had are all...
Not really have anything actually to say?
Well, they're all, I mean, he gets the questions beforehand. He gets to pick the people asking the questions. The mainstream has the gall, including at the debate, but before that on the European trips, to try to claim that what we see on TV
It's
fake.
Fake. Yeah, cheap fake.
When God, it's like Jungle City all of a sudden. I guess the trees go over
Yeah,
us.
that's nice. I like that. We get a little dappling here on the
Right.
High Line.
Let's let these guys go a little
Sure.
bit. So, so the Democratic Party looks actually. I mean, people always talk about how the Republicans managed to screw everything up. The Democrats have definitely screwed this up to fairly well, as has the mainstream press. And Ben Shapiro, who I guess got into or Candace Owens
yeah.
got into a catfight with her employer, Ben Shapiro, and lost. But he has the thing out today, I think in Signal, saying that this is not simply an indictment of Biden and the Democratic Party. This is an indictment of the mainstream media. And he's absolutely correct about that. And all these people, this latest was this LaFonza, I had her last name wrong, it's Butler, LaFonza Butler, who is basically dumber than AOC. She's really stupid, trying to defend Joe Biden, saying that, look, I mean, because of all the good things that he's done, let him take naps. Let him adjust his schedule. I take naps.
No.
Yeah, and it's just a preposterous argument. The ends justify the means, and the accomplishments that they cite for Biden are invented.
Exactly.
I mean, he didn't create any jobs. The jobs that are being filled now in the main are the part-time jobs or government jobs when it comes to Americans, and it's non-Americans, non-citizens who are taking a lot of these jobs.
Let's get off here.
It's hard to know what speed you'll want to walk at.
I'm sorry, I wanted to get around
Oh,
that.
I hear you. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Well, you're right, Charles. I mean, look, they're stipulating reality when they're trying to tell you good things that Joe Biden did.
They're shitulating reality. It's just.
But seriously, they just make things up. He says, like, oh, no military people died during my presidency.
You can't
it's like, what?
say that. I mean, there are many people died.
But he said it.
I know, he did say it. And then also Byron Donald, yeah, was in some interview I saw today, where he's pointing out that so far under Biden, we've lost 7 embassies. We've had to shut 7 embassies, yes.
Wow.
Because
Is that a record?
I don't know, but it's certainly not good.
Holy cow. What countries are those in?
I think one of them is Iraq.
Wow.
And another would be probably Afghanistan as a guess.
Wow.
One we should shut is in Canada. Basically, fuck those guys. And Mexico. Fuck them both. Serious. No, seriously, the amount of animosity, hostility that those two nations have engendered against us under Biden and Trump. I mean, sending all this fentanyl in out of Chinese origin fentanyl manufactured in the factories down in Mexico. And then the bullshit that we get from Justin Trudeau
He's terrible.
at every turn. And why that moron should have anything to do with the G7. I mean, he should be a leader of the T7, the toilet 7.
Is that girl going to the tattoo parlor?
I think at this stage, her next step is just to become black.
Just go to the laser tattoo removal place.
They're
They'll
just
be like,
filling
"Ooh."
everything. Just like turn her black.
There's somebody who did that actually recently, tattooed his whole thing, his whole chest, solid black. I don't understand
These
the
are
point.
probably the very same people who claim that they are really upset they have no savings.
You can't get a job. So the other thing is, James O'Keefe had an interview with some dunce from some cybersecurity agency
Right.
who's blabbing all this stuff saying that Joe Biden has dementia and all this before James O'Keefe reveals that he's undercover. So, I mean, isn't that a little scary that people who are supposed to be handling cybersecurity can be fooled by an independent journalist?
Or to take in.
Or Hillary
Yeah.
getting called by Russian pranksters? They're morons.
I listened to that.
It's funny.
And it's funny and
It's dry.
It's really bad because Hillary speaks like Janet Yellen in an affected way, designed to project in her mind importance
Yes.
and profundity.
But actually saying nothing.
Absolutely, precisely that, saying nothing poorly.
Right.
And my takeaway from that is like blow hard, put that person to work. Hillary in the the sundowning shift at a retirement center,
Right.
making cookies.
Because
baking
she's
cookies.
just occupying the person on the other end of the phone, right? There was like 2 or 3 times that Hillary Clinton was like, well, okay, good speaking to you. He was like, well, but wait, let me talk to you
I
about
know.
this. And they just keep going, and just nothing at all is said.
Well, and the other thing I believe if you had some sort of special app that you could disguise your voice, and I hadn't talked to you in a while, maybe I wouldn't recognize that it's a prank. But supposedly Hillary was
Yeah, it's
interacting.
Poroshenko.
She was interacting, even I could tell it wasn't Poroshenko
Right.
from the first moment. So how many other calls like that has she
Right.
had? And let's go back through the
Yeah.
Podesta emails, which are scary and how stupid they portray Hillary. I mean, I love the one when she's Secretary of State and she gets this email, there's a cabinet meeting, and her response is, am I invited to it?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think,
Well,
bitch?
along the lines, though, of what you're saying about imitating the voice, so YouTube just released a new rule that, and you know what? Oddly, I don't disagree with this rule from YouTube. They're saying that now, if somebody deep fakes your voice or your image,
They're out.
well, it's something you can complain about on
Yeah,
YouTube.
yeah.
This, like Joe Rogan, I'm seeing a lot of ads, which it's obviously not him, advertising some Chinese product.
Right.
And when I first started seeing that, you could really tell that it was some bad computer version of Joe Rogan. But the most recent one that I heard,
You can't.
I knew it wasn't him because I know he's not advertising this dumb product. But I also know that like most people would not know
Careful.
that it's not him. So what I'm getting at is, we know that 11 Labs and other companies have this technology where they can basically, voice print.
Right.
They sample the speaker, not the actual words, and then you can recreate anything. So you could have that. We're talking about comedy radio hosts. Imagine what an actual intelligence
Right.
agency could do to try to call Hillary Clinton. Just the fact that happened, she should be disqualified from ever doing anything important again.
That's just part of it. And laughing about the guy made the point about, well, we saw what happened to dictators like Gaddafi, and she starts laughing.
Yeah, he said maybe there'll be a next Gaddafi, right?
I mean,
The other person laughing was Bill Barr when Neil
Ugh.
Cavuto mentioned that Steve Bannon is in jail.
Right.
Now, okay, so this building is still pushed back, Charles. Did you notice that? It's retracted.
huh? Why? What is it?
They had some concert here or something the other day. Let's look at it. I'm not sure, but here's more dirty fruit you can buy.
Right, from illegal aliens.
There's no bugs landing on that. No one sneezing on any
Right.
of that.
Summer
Well,
sway,
I don't know. I guess they're just giving away gluten-free. What is this?
trash, smorgasbord.
Let's just go look at what
Let's
they've
get in
got
the
over
shade,
there.
actually.
Yeah. So this is strange.
Vermont
This-
maple lemonade. I bet you this shit is very overpriced.
I think they're giving it away. No.
I have no
Some
clue.
sort of promotional thing. It looks like. Haktua. What does that booth say?
Haktui?
No, Tang Hulu. Similar. Maybe they are selling it.
No,
I don't know.
look at the prices.
What does it say?
$23 for
a
a lobster
lobster
roll.
roll.
23, yeah.
Those are always expensive, though.
Ice cream, one piece, $5.
Baklava. Isn't that salted cod?
This
Sounds
is
like a
pretty
terrible
expensive.
flavor of ice cream.
Raclette is so. Have you ever had raclette?
I don't even know what it is.
It's like cheese. It is very, very heavy.
I like these places that have just like bizarre comedy. Truffle fries and peach lemonade. Of course those things go
That's
together.
right, yeah. Dial it up, 500 stores next week.
Famous Vietnamese coffee.
Merch information.
Vietnamese coffee is about as famous as Jewish karate. Nobody's ever heard of that.
That's right, Vietnamese pizza.
Right. Now what's this? I don't know what the hell is going on here, Charles. This is some sort of event that they've set up. I mean, why?
McKinsey probably planned it. Probably
But
cost.
why? If you are renting a thing in that mall where you're selling coffee or ice cream or whatever, doesn't this piss you off? Why do these people get to come out here and everybody sees their stand before they see your place and they're taking away your business?
And that look. I actually like paella, but I would never eat it from that kind of a pit.
That's
$24. Mediterranean paella, $24.
Huh. And then Colombian hot dog, as famous as Jewish karate. Everybody's looking for those Colombian hot dogs.
Is that Marla Maples' stuff? Marla's, or is that Maria?
Mama's covered.
Mama's. I thought it said Marla's.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of things being done that make no sense. Smorgasbord at the shed is what that is.
Shed. Was it
Yeah,
Sonia?
so this thing is the shed, I guess. Very weird.
And then you have the restaurant and bar collection there.
That's what I mean. They got to be annoyed by this. So, Charles, a lot of people are saying Doug Burgum is going to be the vice
I
president.
hope not.
Yeah, he doesn't really seem like an excellent, exciting choice.
He sounds, to me, he strikes me as duller than Mike Pence.
Right, and he's been pictured with
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, and he said he wasn't going to do business with Trump previously.
And what do you, in North Dakota, there's what, like half an electoral college vote? I mean,
Yeah,
you know,
why? What's with him? I mean, at least I know you have issues with Vivek Ramaswamy, and I'm interested in finding out more about that. But just from the standpoint of like his go-get-em kind of attitude, he seems better than a lot of the other choices.
I think Vivek would be a perfect press secretary or something like that.
Not Laura?
Laura Loomer, yeah, I don't think so. I like Laura.
I think that would be exciting.
But Vivek just, I mean, the way in which he, in theory, garnered his wealth, from what I've read so far, and I haven't done the kind of deep diving I like to do yet, it's just fraught with peril, I think, for Trump.
Right.
If he selects him, and then we just discover after the fact that there was monkey
late,
business,
right.
credible allegations of monkey business, that maybe should have been caught when Trump was president, and indirectly in control of the SEC, but weren't. The press will go bananas over that.
So what do you think, J.D. Vance?
I like J.D. Vance. I like J.B. Smoove, too.
He'd be like, Trump, you got long balls.
That would be hilarious.
It would be.
He is really a talented actor.
I forget that guy's real name. Yo, J.B. Smoove.
Is that his real name? Or
Well,
is
that's his acting name. That's like when
Uh.
he's doing stand-up, he's J.B. Smoove. I don't know what his
that would be
real
funny.
name is.
Donnie? Called Trump. Donnie? Or Trumpy? That Melania. I wish I could tap that ass.
Well, he calls him LD, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So we call him Trump, what, DJT?
DT.
You tapped a lot of ass, Don. DJT. How'd you do that?
Well,
You
but-
old.
So back to news stuff. They're now saying, so a lot of people didn't really understand what was going on with Mershon because as I understand it, and of course I'm not an attorney, and this isn't legal advice, but I believe because the Supreme Court has now clarified this point that was appealed and remanded this thing back to the lower court, this now created an opportunity for Trump's team to file a motion on the basis of this new ruling, and that motion needs to be fully briefed. So that is what was delaying. Like, in other words, Bragg could have said, hey, we object to this motion for this and that reason, but they couldn't because it was a legitimate motion for a legitimate purpose and they needed to respond to it. Right. So they requested an amount of time to respond, and then the judge said, okay, so that's going to give us a continuance on this sentencing. And that's what happened there. So this is not any kind of discretionary thing by Mershon. I've heard a lot of people saying a lot of things about that.
Right.
Do you know what that building is, Charles?
I don't.
Doesn't it look strange?
It does. But what I would say is I think we're now in a zone where the political people like to look at law cases through a legal prism, and it is important to do that. But on the other hand, we also have to apply the political focus, the political prism. And the polls that are coming out, forget Biden's atrocious debate performance, but the reaction of the Biden team to basically pull a Baghdad Bob on the mainstream press and just say that wasn't bad performance, people have bad debates, keep Biden alive because what he's done for the country and what he will do versus what Trump will do. That just is so jejune, naive, stupid, and frankly I'd say wrong, that people now are saying, now wait a minute, why have we been protecting Biden? Maybe there's another way of looking at this, that in fact, the second Biden, quote, won, he did his level best to put his political enemies in jail the way they do in places like Haiti and Kenya and elsewhere. There are over 1,000 J6 defendants in jail. a large number, or up on charges in total. And a large number of those people, I think, are going to be released, and maybe who knows what they get.
Lawsuits like crazy.
Right. And so you have that, and it's very clear that, to me anyway, that the knuckleheads close to Biden, and perhaps Biden himself, decided to amp up the lawfare against Trump in meetings for which there are notes, or at least recollections. And and now people are very concerned what might happen when Trump wins, which as of today
Right.
he's going to. Will there be retribution?
Particularly Andrew Weissman and
Normison.
well, I haven't seen, but definitely I have seen nervous demeanor
Right.
for Andrew Weissman and Rachel Maddow. And then the other thing is, somebody put on Twitter earlier today, they were like, hey, I just got this email from CNN, and it's like, hi, I'm so-and-so doing a piece for CNN about asking Democrats if Joe Biden's 2020 election was legitimate.
Wow.
I know, and it's like, wait a minute. Is Anderson Cooper going to come out and endorse Trump? That would be the best. Is if starting tomorrow,
It's like,
CNN is like, well, everybody knows Donald Trump was the best president we've ever had.
Best one ever.
Yeah, and you got to reelect Trump, and then people will be like, what?
What is that? Seed vagina.
What? Yeah, wow, what is that?
You
I
gotta
don't
look
think
at
you
that
need to
sign.
advertise that. It's doing so well.
I think when the
Just
two
by
of those,
word of mouth.
But when the two of those get together, I believe baby happens.
Well, but anyway, what do you think of that? If CNN is writing a story, they'll be like, oh, by the way, yeah, Trump did actually win.
Well, it's just the brand, the mainstream press brand has been destroyed, and the Democrat. I just want to see what this is.
What the hell are they building here? This is weird.
I don't know. You are a super organism.
Isn't this weird?
Ay, ay, ay.
Why are they advertising vagina?
I think you put something inside of it, and you're gonna. The vaginal microbiome is an evolution.
Wow. Vitamins for the vag. That's $1 billion idea.
Let's go. Let's stay in the. You're right. let's
Wherever
stay
you
there.
want to go.
Yeah.
Actually, Charles, we just have a few more minutes here before we're going to make our way over to the First Amendment Forum. We got a lot of stuff to talk about in terms of things that people are saying against Joe Biden that should get them kicked off of things and
Right.
don't. We got a lot of stuff that we haven't spoken about yet. So Joe on the phone call said nobody is going to push him out.
Well, see, that's what he has to say. This negotiation is going on as a guest. It's hot and heavy, and he has to say to the public he's not out.
He had lunch with Kamala Harris.
Was that today?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that was heavy in that meeting was the table. You know, they had
Yeah.
those seat belts to keep those lightweights from floating away.
The other
during lunch.
interview we have to talk about, and this will be perfect for the First Amendment Forum. People can join us on odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth or all the others. Odyssey also announced this morning that their July 11th update is going to utilize AI somehow. So I don't know what that's going to include, but that'll be interesting for people to see. We got to talk about the girl-on-girl action on MSNBC last night, where the stupidest person ever
The postmenopausal porn star.
interviewed Stormy Daniels.
Please put me in.
But we'll talk about that. Rachel Maddow talking to Stormy Daniels. It was absolutely ridiculous. Anything you want to say in the last moment, Charles?
Well, no, I just, we'll get into it in the First Amendment Forum, but if we scroll back to, say, 98, 99, before the internet really took off, and imagine the power of the New York Times and the mainstream press then, and consider the depths to which it's fallen today, I honestly think the big takeaway from all this, Biden is clearly toast, Harris may be toast, but for certain the mainstream press, no subscriptions, no reading these newspapers. You want a sustainable future, stop printing the newspapers on newsprint. People aren't going to be reading the books put out by these journalists. They're not going to be listening to the Rachel Maddow show or CNN.
She's going to go to jail.
Well, that would be nice.
All right, well,
Men's prison.
We'll be right back in 5 minutes. Stay with us, everybody. Let's check how much gas is, Charles.